Hi, my name is Belina Redmond, and I am doing my presentation on Jean-Michel Frank. You can furnish a room very luxuriously by unfurnishing it. Born February 28, 1895, Jean-Michel Frank was a French designer known for his minimalistic designs. Born to a wealthy Jewish family, the youngest of three sons, Frank spoke French, English, and German. But during school, he was bullied by his classmates for being Jewish. It is said that young Frank was an unusual boy, described by one of his classmates as sort of a child woman, ageless and sexless. In fact, he was so effeminate that he was exempt from being drafted at the start of World War I. After studying elementary and secondary school, he entered law school. However, his family was struck with tragedy very early. The loss of his two brothers, killed during World War I. Then his father, who was a citizen of France, but because he was German born during World War I, his bank accounts were seized and business transactions were terminated. Due to all of this, Frank's father committed suicide. And because of all of that, his mother sank into a deep depression, and he was institutionalized with all of this. Because of all of this loss, Frank dropped out of law school and decided to travel the world and live lavishly off of his father's inheritance. He could often be seen chain smoking in nightclubs and traveling fashionably with the upper crust of the Parisian society. It's at this time that Frank decided to try his hand at interior design. One of his famed poet friends asked him to do a room for him. And because he had access to all of the elite people of his time, he became very popular after this. In his first project for a friend, he designed a table wrapped in stingray skin, and its combination of a basic form with an exotic material created a sensation. He was drawn to simple design. He wanted to design spaces that was uncluttered and simple. Frank drew lots of his inspiration from ancient Egypt and Louis XVI and the Art Deco movement. Frank introduced materials that was unseen and unused in furniture making. Plaster stone, terracotta, mica, graphite, straw, parchment, or even he treated in very original ways and sanded down oak furniture. His signature look was which came to be known as luxe Pervers, was soon all the rage in Parisian trendsetters. Around this time, Frank met Adolphe Chanox, a Parisian decorator, and their collaborations launched them into the center of Parisian art life. Together, they decorated apartments for some of the most famous Parisians of this time. One of the famed rooms that they worked on together was an oak-lined salon for Giorgio Armani, paneled in squares of parchment and outlined with blocky white chairs and lamps made of quart chunks and bronze doors. It was said that Frank was the high priest of rooms that no one could live in. Here we have a sitting room for Nancy Cunard. Here you can see some of his minimalistic Art Deco design. Another popular space is this bathroom in Paris, where the walls and the tub and the sink are covered in Italian green and white marble. The doors are trimmed in silver, and parchment in between glass panels on the ceiling. Much like bathrooms that are designed today. Very minimalistic. Frank dreamed of creating rooms in multiple tones of beige. One of the most iconic rooms was for Nole's a smoking room with walls covered in parchment. In the 1930s, Frank became a teacher for design at the Paris Atelier, which is now called Parsons Paris School of Art and Design. While being a teacher here, he developed the famous Parsons table. Frank challenged his students to create a table that would retain its integrity, whether sheathed in gold leaf, mica, parchment, or even painted burlap. This is where the T-shaped table was developed. This table got its name due to the peculiar perpendicular relationship between the legs and the tabletop. Also during this time, he has established the left bank workshop, where he would hire artisans who specialized in woodworking and varnish, and they were experts in accomplishing all of these decorative things that Frank wanted to design. It was around this time that Frank started to move away from his traditional beige designs and flirt with brilliant and bright colors. He started to be inspired by the works of Matisse and Picasso. One of his most dramatic designs was the San Francisco penthouse he created for the railroad heiress Templeton Crocker, which had a room with a fireplace surrounded in mica, bronze, and rose quartz and iron, and a low table of bronze, armchairs in leather, and lamps mounted in bases of quartz and obsidian. There was also the sunroom, furnished with a brave mix of animal skins, Navajo rugs, and elegant tables modeled after the ones they recently discovered in King Tut's tomb. One of the final rooms that Frank completed was a colorful project on Fifth Avenue, an apartment for the Rockefellers, which boasted oak paneling, gilded tables, and floral carpets. The Rockefeller living room included expensive furnishings, rugs, armchairs, and up to 13 meters of green and white hand-woven silk from France. It was during that final project that Frank had to close down his company because of World War II. Frank then had to flee France for Argentina. But because many of his wealthy clients were also fleeing France, when he got to Argentina, he got right back to work. One of the noted commissions that Frank got while he was in Argentina was for the Lau Lau Hotel in Patagonia. Here you can see that Frank used his iconic minimalistic design. Also included in this design were the famed lounge chairs that were upholstered in doe hide, and to this day they are widely sought after. Even though Frank was very talented and sought after worldwide, he could not escape the horrors of his past. And soon after a brief stay in New York, he took his own life, ending an amazing career. But his legacy continues to live on, and we still see designers mimicking his minimalistic designs to this day.